Good evening, this is your AI host, Jay. I'm here with the automatically generated, Journiter, evening headlines on September 21, 2023. British tourist falls 90 meters to death while scaling stairway to heaven ladder. The Independent, UK man climbing Instagram famous stairway to heaven falls 300 feet to his death. NDTV, British tourist dies while climbing stairway to heaven in Austria. Key takeaways from Michael Wolff's book on Murdoch, Fox and US politics. The Guardian, Rupert Murdoch often wishes Donald Trump was dead. The Telegraph, inside Michael Wolff's new book The Fall and Tucker Carlson's firing. Evening Standard, why a new book claims frothing at the mouth Rupert Murdoch wanted Donald Trump dead. iNews, Rupert Murdoch often wishes Donald Trump dead, Michael Wolff book says. Ukraine's awkward allies, the far-right Russians fighting on Kyiv's side. Right-wing extremist views increasingly widespread in Germany, study finds. The Guardian, far-right attitudes on rise in Germany. Anadolu Agency, English, Germany's Greens and Liberals call for action on immigration as far-right strengthens. Politico Europe, Germany, right-wing hostility toward democracy growing. Crown Prince confirms Saudi Arabia will seek nuclear arsenal if Iran develops one. The Guardian, Saudi Arabia, if Iran gets a nuclear weapon so will we. The Times, Saudi Crown Prince on Iran acquiring nuclear weapons. If they get one, we have to get one. The Hill, if they get one, we have to. Saudi Arabia will seek nuclear weapon if Iran does. Guardian News, Saudi Crown Prince said if Iran gets a nuke we have to get one too. South Africa to clear COVID lockdown criminal records. Romeoville shooting, what we know about murders of family of 4 in Illinois. Very worrying, pollution is so prevalent in Europe, says Estonian climate minister, as it happened. The Guardian, Europe facing a severe health crisis, WION climate tracker. WION, impossible to live like this, Italy's Po Valley blighted by air pollution among worst in Europe. The Guardian, Europe in grip of severe public health crisis, almost everyone inhaling toxic air. WION, what can be done to combat air pollution in Europe? Tourist calls police after being charged £500 for chili crab in Singapore. The Independent, speechless Japanese tourist calls police after being charged 56,000 rupees for crab dish. NDTV, Paradise Group releases CCTV screenshots to refute tourists' claims of overpriced crab dish. CNA, Japanese woman files complaint after Singapore eatery charges 56,000 rupees for crab dish. India Today, tourist calls police after restaurant charges 83,000 rupees for seafood meal. Tocoron prison, Venezuela regains control of gang-run jail with pool and zoo. BBC, gang jail with zoo, swimming pool and nightclub in Venezuela raided by soldiers and police. The Telegraph, Venezuela sends 11,000 troops to control gang-run prison with pool and zoo. Al Jazeera English, Venezuela sends 11,000 troops to retake gang-run prison with pool, disco, zoo. France 24 English, Venezuela, police raid gang-run prison with pool, nightclub and zoo. Irish Parliament protests prompt review of Leinster House security. BBC, Dublin, 13 people arrested after Irish Parliament protests. BBC, Gallows protest at Leinster House a vile and vicious attack on democracy. The Independent, Healy-Rae condemns disgraceful behaviour outside Dáil. RTE.ie, Gallows protest at Leinster House marks very grave day for democracy. Vladimir Putin accepts invitation to China in October. Sky News, Putin trip to meet Xi in China confirmed for next month. The Independent, Vladimir Putin accepts Xi Jinping's invitation to visit China in October. Latest news, WION. WION, China ready to continue business cooperation with Russia, top diplomat tells Putin. Reuters, Russian President Putin hosts China's top diplomat Wang Yi in St. Petersburg. Gillian Malone, South Africa's first female submarine navigator dies. BBC, 3 South African Navy personnel die after being swept off submarine deck by large waves. Sky News, 3 killed in Navy submarine disaster as crew swept off deck near Cape Town. The Independent, GQABH woman, Lieutenant Commander Gillian Elizabeth Hector dies in Comaji submarine disaster. News 24, 3 South African Navy personnel dead in freak submarine incident at sea. Family sues Google after Maps allegedly directed father off collapsed US bridge. The Guardian, Google accused of directing motorists to drive off collapsed bridge. BBC, man dies driving off collapsed bridge following Google Maps, family sues. Sky News, Google sued by family of man who drove off collapsed bridge while following maps. The Telegraph, Google sued after man drove off collapsed bridge following map directions. Russian official tries to disrupt Zelensky's speech at UN and gets told to stop the war. The Independent, Zelensky says only way to ensure peace is fundamental UN reform. The Guardian, the moment Russia attempted to block President Zelensky speaking at the UN Security Council. The Telegraph, stripping Russia's veto power on the Security Council is all but impossible. Perhaps we should expect less from the UN instead. The Conversation, despite threat of shutdown, Congress cannot afford to give up on Ukraine. Nagorno-Karabakh, fresh reports of gunfire despite ceasefire. BBC, Azerbaijan halts Karabakh offensive after ceasefire deal with Armenian separatists. BBC, Azerbaijan rejects France's Nagorno-Karabakh illegal offensive claim, ambassador says. France 24 English, The Guardian view on Nagorno-Karabakh, a ceasefire is needed, but it's not a solution. The Guardian, The Irish Times view on Nagorno-Karabakh, a swift annexation, The Irish Times. Poland no longer supplying weapons to Ukraine amid grain row. BBC, Ukrainians aghast as Poland stops sending weapons to fight Russia. Al Jazeera English, Slovakia to drop ban on Ukrainian grain imports. Financial Times, Poland stops its Ukraine weapon supply. BBC News. BBC News, Poland is no longer sending weapons to Ukraine. Europe is starting to believe Putin will win. Bin Salman suggests Saudi Arabia and Israel are set to reach historic deal. Every day we get closer. Sky News, Saudi Arabia getting closer to Israel normalization deal, Prince says. BBC, Saudi Crown Prince MBS says Israel normalization getting closer. Al Jazeera English, Saudi Arabia, getting closer to normalizing relations with Israel, Crown Prince says. The Guardian, Netanyahu told officials to cooperate on Saudi bid to enrich uranium, report. Russia-Ukraine war live. Zelensky in Washington for talks with Biden as he bids for more U.S. support. The Guardian, Zelensky at the White House, 5 things Ukraine wants from the U.S. Euronews, Red Circle Live, Zelensky arrives in U.S. Congress to face Republican skeptics on Ukraine aid. France 24 English, opinion, the U.S. has what Ukraine needs to gain the upper hand. The Washington Post, Zelensky faces difficult conversations in Washington amid Congress spending battle. India suspends visas for Canadians as row escalates. BBC, India suspends visa services for Canadians in further decline in relations. The Guardian, why Canada lacks allies' support on claim India killed Hardeep Singh Nijjar. Al Jazeera English, how the murder of a Sikh leader sparked an international incident between Canada and India. The Hill, if India killed a Canadian Sikh, Trudeau and other Liberal PMs are at fault. This was all for the news. Thanks for listening. Please do not forget to like and subscribe.